Earl Woods, father of Tiger Woods, an SYSBM story. We're going to talk about Earl Woods, father of Tiger Woods, and his story and his two marriages. So to begin with, we know that he has an distinguished military career, and we know that he was married first in 1954 to his first wife, and this is an image here, one of the few on the internet, and they were married for 14 years. I think that's right. Yeah, 14 years, and they had 3 children. And then, of course, it says here that they divorced in 1968. Okay? And so we're going to go follow this story because this is really the story of him making the decision to have a second marriage and start a second family. Okay? So we're going to listen to the very beginning of Tiger's life. Okay?
The charmed life of Eldrick Woods began on December 30th, 1975, in Southern California. Earl Woods, a former Green Beret lieutenant colonel who had served in Vietnam, met Kultida Wood, the daughter of a well-to-do Bangkok family in a U.S. Army office in Thailand. They were married in 1969. Eldrick would be their only child.
I was more of a friend, best friend, and a very supportive parent. Understanding, communicative. We just existed together, coexisted together at a very high level.
He's meant a lot to me. I mean, he's not only introduced me to the game of golf and something I love to do as my passion, but he was always there. My dad was always there.
I love to.
Okay, so one thing that's really important about this story is, and if you know the story of Tiger's father, there was not shenanigans, but he had indiscretions a lot like his son did. But what I find really interesting, and you just heard how meaningful they have how they feel about the relationship, how meaningful it is to them, is that, and we'll document this throughout this film, but even through his indiscretions, what Kultida, what she did is she didn't estrange Tiger from her father. She didn't use the power she had to make both of their lives miserable again, and use that against both her son and her husband. Obviously cheating is not ideal, but you hear them talk about how great and important that relationship is to them, and she had the power to destroy that and make it as difficult as possible, and she did not do that. We'll listen to a bit more.
See the competitiveness in him, and just allowed it to come out. I played on Saturdays and Sundays, and he was always at the 18th green to meet me, because then I would reward him by going to the putting green, and he and I would putt. Always competition.
Okay, so there we have it again. He played golf on Saturdays and Sunday. So there are 2 points that are important here. He played golf on Saturday and Sunday, which of course meant that I don't know if they were fighting about that or not, but he was doing that. But what's more important, and it shows a level of cooperation, was that when he got to the 18th hole, his wife was there with little Tiger. And Tiger was there ready to play with his father after he finished playing golf on Saturday and Sunday, after no doubt a full week of work. So busy week of work, and then Saturday, Sunday golf, and he gets to the 18th green and his son is there waiting for him. That level of cooperation is We don't know the exact reason why he left the first marriage, but I can imagine that the difference might be quite obvious, even if it's not well stated. That there was just a level of cooperation there that maybe he was seeking, or to the other end, he wasn't getting the kind of cooperation that he was looking for in the first marriage. Here's a second part I think is really important. This is talking about when they made the decision to get serious with the young Tiger.
As Tiger's prodigious talent became obvious, Earl's military mind led him to devise a plan for Tiger's future. He and Tita were going to devote their lives to realizing the awesome potential of their son.
We asked him what kind of sport he want, because in the school he loved to run. He loved to play a lot of sport too in school, baseball, basketball.
Okay, so again, there's cooperation. You see the level of cooperation again when they made a decision early on to say that we're going to focus on this one child and we're going to maximize his potential. Okay, and this is, I think, maybe the most important clip, and this is a good documentary. It's quite old, but it's probably made right after he won the first Masters in 1997 or sometime in that era, because you can tell the quality. But the level of cooperation in this clip, I think, is very key.
Earl would become coach, psychologist, and family breadwinner. Tita would become companion, scorer, and drill instructor.
I mean, she was the one getting up at 4 in the morning to drive 2 hours to watch me play 9 holes in a Pee Wee league. She made the sacrifices.
I walk to every tournament with Tiger, and I always keep the score.
Every single round. Not only myself, but everyone in my group. And that was her thing.
Okay, so we're gonna stop it there. And again, that level of not just cooperation, but the level of commitment. Like we're seeing here, the Tiger's mom was the MVP of the story. She's the MVP of his life. She made sacrifices, and of course, what I alluded to in the beginning with the infidelity and whatnot. Even in the midst of that, if you read the story about their marriage and what Tiger, some of the things that were going on allegedly, she made incredible sacrifices so that her son could be a once in a generational talent. I mean, how many Tiger Woods are we going to see? And she put the well-being of that child above her own personal interests. And so we're going to round out the story here, because there are 2 points that are very important to round out the story. The first one is when Tiger was about 14 years old and they were having trouble, and we'll just read it. His parents were faced with a tough decision regarding how they would best help their son move forward. And eventually, Kultida and Earl Woods decided to put all their faith in Tiger's potential. At the age of 14 and a half, we took out a second mortgage so I could go out and play the AJGA tour. Tiger revealed, Mom stayed at home, Dad traveled. And that is how they kept his dream alive. And again, this is a level of cooperation that this is what is sparking this Passport Bros SYSBM movement for men looking overseas. Imagine, let's just look at it this way. Imagine if they had been fighting through all of this for every single inch. Would we have had a Tiger? And the other point I want you to take note of is this one here. Though his parents could agree to unconditionally support Tiger from the sidelines at his tournaments, they were not in accord when it came to their marriage. So they basically were living separately, but I shouldn't even say they, but I would say Kultida, she basically made a decision to be civil throughout the duration of their separation or what was going on in their personal life because of Tiger. Never legally separated. Earl and Kultida, who goes by Tida, lived in separate homes across the country from each other. So my point being, and we're going to wrap this up by this point, simply put, Earl Woods, he had 3 children with his first wife. No Tiger Woods. He had 1 child with his second wife. Tiger Woods, y'all. The cooperation, the sacrifice, the putting the needs of the child first are the reason why we have a Tiger Woods. And we would not have had a Tiger Woods if we did not have Earl Woods, SYSBM, go and get the woman that is going to make the plans, the acquiesces that are going to make a Tiger Woods possible. Now, I'm not saying that his first marriage wasn't proper or perfect. I don't know. But what I can say is that he felt the need to leave that marriage with 3 children and go date a non-American black woman, go all the way across the world to Thailand, marry a second wife, and only have 1 child with her. And lo and behold, that child just happens to be Tiger Woods. If anyone is asking or wondering why black men are going SYSBM, look at this story. This story will answer it for you. Some cooperation and a wife that's willing to sacrifice for you so that you and your family can have the best. You might make something dangerous. You might end up your own Tiger Woods in your family. Till the next video.